Good morning, everyone. All right, we are almost through our series, But First Jesus. We have this week and next week, and then we'll have an Easter service, and then we will jump into the book of Philippians together. So let's go ahead and read together Revelation chapter 5. We are in Revelation chapter 5. We will read together the whole chapter. And it says, "Then I saw in the right hand of him who sat on the throne a scroll with writing on both sides, and sealed with 7 seals. And I saw a mighty angel proclaiming in a loud voice, 'Who is worthy to break the seals and open the scroll?' But no one in heaven or on earth or under the earth could open the scroll or even look inside it. I wept and wept because no one was found who was worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, 'Do not weep. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has triumphed. He is able to open the scroll and its 7 seals.' Then I saw a lamb, looking as if it had been slain, standing at the center of the throne, encircled by the 4 living creatures and the elders. The Lamb had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are the 7 spirits of God sent out into all the earth. He went and took the scroll from the right hand of him who sat on the throne. And when he had taken it, the 4 living creatures and the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb. Each one had a harp, and they were holding golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of God's people. And they sang a new song, saying, You are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals, because you were slain. And with your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. You have made them to be a kingdom and priests to serve our God. They will reign on the earth." Then I looked and heard the voice of many angels, numbering thousands upon thousands and 10,000s upon 10,000s. They encircled the throne and the living creatures and the elders. In a loud voice they were saying, "Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and praise." Then I heard every creature in heaven and on earth and under the earth and on the sea and all that is in them saying, "To him who sits on the throne and to the Lamb be praise and honor and glory and power forever and ever." The 4 living creatures said, "Amen." And the elders fell down and worshiped. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, we're in Revelation. Where's the blood and gore? Where's the fire and judgment? And I would say to you, that's really kind of the wrong view of Revelation. That's not what Revelation has to offer. Of course, there are times of blood and gore in Revelation, but it's really not about the end of the earth. It is really about our imagination. It's really written so that it can uncover for us the real world, the real story of all history, to what is really going on. And so the best way to listen to this story is to open up your imagination. Turn on your imagination and try to picture and see what is going on and what is being told to us. And so let's try it again. Let's try entering this story again, and let's take a moment to just turn on our imagination and try to picture what is going on. And so John had set the scene of where this is in the chapter before. So use your imagination and let John kind of set the picture for you here. He said, "After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven, and the voice I had first heard speaking to me like a trumpet said, 'Come up here, and I will show you what must take place after this.' Once I was in the Spirit, and there before me was a throne in heaven and someone sitting on it. And the one who sat there had the appearance of jasper and ruby. A rainbow that shone like an emerald encircled the throne. Surrounding the throne were 24 other thrones, and seated on them were 24 elders. They were dressed in white and had crowns of gold on their heads. And from the throne came flashes of lightning, rumbling and pearls of thunder. In front of the throne, 7 lamps were blazing. These are the 7 spirits of God. And in front of the throne, there was what looked like a sea of glass, clear as crystal. In the center around the throne, there were 4 living creatures, and they were covered with eyes in front and in back. The first living creature was like a lion. The second was like an ox. The third had the face like a man. The fourth was like a flying eagle. Each of the living creatures had 6 wings and were covered with eyes all around. Even under its wings, day and night, they never stopped saying, "Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty, who was and is to come." And so, in this throne room, with the sea of glass and the rainbow of emerald, the one who shone with brightness of jasper, he held out a scroll. And that scroll had 7 seals on it, kind of like that. And an angel in a loud voice cried out, "Who is worthy to take this scroll?" Now, we don't really know exactly what's being referenced here with the scroll. It could be a reference to Ezekiel, a scroll that he wrote. It could be a reference to Daniel, who had a vision of things going on in the future, and he had to write it down and seal it because it wasn't ready to be revealed. It could be a reference to Roman land deeds. We don't know exactly what this is referencing. But what we do know is that over the next couple chapters, as the seals get broken open, the judgments of God get poured out against the wicked. And in one of those seals, the people who had been oppressed by the wicked, the martyrs who had died for their faith, they cried out saying, "How long, O Lord, until the end of the story is complete?" And finally, after the last seal is broken, we hear that all the earth now belongs to God. He has taken control. And so whatever the scroll is referencing, I think what is being done, is being shown here, is that the end of the story is coming. That this is kind of the last chapter of history, where all the wrongs will be righted, where everything will come to completion and the story will finally get an ending. And that is such good news. Even if you are under the judgment of the scroll, it is good news to know that the story of earth is ending. We constantly ask, one of the biggest questions is, what are we doing? Why are we on earth? Is there a point to all of history, or is it just cycles and cycles of pain and suffering and death? Is there going to be something better? Is there going to be a greater thing that we can hold on our hope to? Or is this just it? We live and die, and the next people live and die, and it just cycles and cycles of suffering and pain. Are we in a story that's just never-ending pain? Or are we in a story that has a good, satisfying ending? Will the mystery be solved? Will the adventure be accomplished? Is there an end? And then the question gets asked by the angel, and he gives forth the challenge, who is worthy to take the scroll? Who is worthy to be the author of the end? Who is the main character of the story? Is there somebody who can be worthy to say, you aren't just a side story that gets wrapped up. You are the one who gets all the ending, who gets all of creation to be for you and about you. Is there anyone who can be worthy enough to be the main character of our story, to bring our story to its climax and ending? And so a line proceeds before the angel. And you can imagine Samson with all his strength thinking, maybe I can be strong enough to open the seal. And Solomon in all his wisdom thinking, maybe I can figure out the key to open this. You can imagine David giving it a shot. You can see the great rulers of all time. The Alexanders the Great, Caesar Augustus. You see our founding fathers, Thomas Jefferson, George Washington line up. Are they worthy to open the seal? You see them struggling and trying. Are they worthy? You see the great philosophers, the Plato's, Aristotle's, the Descartes, the Kant, all trying to figure it out, figuring out what's the best way, trying to get into it. And hours pass by. This line and succession of people, the rich, powerful, Elon Musk, everybody is lined up. No one is worthy. John begins to break down. He violently weeps. He cries out. The tear, it's not just a single tear, but, just kind of trickling down. No, he is snotty-nosed, like everything is coming out. Weeping. You can see why. Because he's been one of those people who suffered. There is no good ending to the story of the universe. There's no good end to his suffering. Not only that, but he told his friends, he told his family, hey, believe in Jesus, stand strong for Jesus, and this suffering will be worth it. There will be redemption for us. Those who are fighting against us, those who are persecuting us will be judged, and we will be given the crown of life. He's been telling them this. And if he's wrong, he's been causing his friends to suffer for no reason. He's been making them face the lion and the fire. No purpose whatsoever. What guilt he must be feeling in that moment. He was wrong the whole time. So he weeps and weeps and weeps. Then an angel comes. He says, don't weep anymore. The Lion of the tribe of Judah, the root of Jesse, he has been found worthy to open up the scroll. And John knows exactly what this is referencing. It is referencing the Messiah. It's referencing Jesus. And he's probably feeling like this. Oh, that would have been perfect if that actually worked. There we go, like this. I know him. It's Jesus. I know him. And, he was excited. The last time he saw Jesus, he was in his glorified body, floating up into the clouds, ascending into heaven. And John had watched him go all the way up until he could see him no more, with his jaw hanging down. He's like, I get to see Jesus again. And he looks up, and it is Jesus. But it isn't like he expected him. It wasn't in glory and power. It wasn't the Jesus who we've seen in the last few weeks, who is the radiance of God's glory. It wasn't the Jesus pictured of who created the world and everything is of him and to him and for him. Instead, Jesus shows up as a lamb, looking like he was slain. John must have been so confused. This is the picture? This is how he's supposed to be worthy? Be a lamb slain? Is it? Luckily for John, and luckily for us, the angels love making up new songs. And they had a good new song to help us figure out what's going on. And so they sing this song. They sing a new song to Jesus, and he says, you are worthy to take the scroll and to open its seals because you were slain. With your blood you purchased for God persons from every tribe and language and people and nation. So, the angels sing to us our explanation, our answer. Why is Jesus worthy of the scroll? And we see three things there. One, because he was slain. Two, because with his blood he purchased for God. Another way to say that, he redeemed. And three, he redeemed persons from every tribe, language, people, and nation. So let's look at that for a moment. First, he is worthy because he was slain. Now, how surprising that is to you. Maybe a good sense of where your values are. In reading this, I've read this many times. It's one of my favorite pictures of Jesus, and yet I'm still surprised that this is why he was worthy, because he was slain. I still feel like I need to prove to God that I am successful enough and I have big things enough for him to bless. I feel like I need to go to God and be like, God, look at all the great things I can do for you, how many people I can reach, and that will make me successful in your eyes. Right, God? No. And really, it's just because I'm a product of our culture. And our culture's view of success is pretty much the exact opposite of God's view of success. We think that those who are rich and powerful, they must be doing good. They must be successful. They must be under God's favor because look how rich and how successful and powerful they are. We strive to be in positions of power. We want to be in the next seat. We want to be the ones who influence policy and changes, and we will do anything as a church to get in those seats of power. Oh, we want that success, don't we? To be honest, we all kind of have a very backward position compared to what God views as success. And, it's not just us. It was the time of Jesus, they had the same thing. I think all time we have this success. That's why Jesus says, the first shall be last, and the last shall be first. But he had just a completely different view of what is worthy, what is successful. So it may be a good time right now to just take a moment and to say, can you reverse my values? Can you reverse my opinions and what I think is worthy and successful? Can you change things up for me, God, so that I can say Jesus is worthy because he was slain, and I will be worthy too because of how I serve, because of how I give, because of how I sacrifice. I will be worthy too because I am little and nothing, and Jesus saves me. I can be worthy that way too. So he is worthy because he was slain. Second, he is worthy because he redeemed. By his blood, he purchased people for God. And so redemption, God gave a little metaphor, something to picture salvation when he gave the law. And basically what he wanted was to say, those who have an inheritance in the promised land, they should be able to keep it. And if they run out of money and run into trouble and they have to sell it, there should be a way for them to be able to get it back. And so he put in a kinsman redeemer, someone who could buy it back and give it back to the family. He keeps these things in the family name. I mean, that's the story of Ruth. Elimelech got into hard times, had to sell his property, moved to Moab. His son met Ruth and married Ruth, and then the son died, and then Elimelech died, and Ruth and Naomi go back to Israel, and they meet, and Ruth meets Boaz, and there's a beautiful love story. They fall in love, and Boaz happens to be a kinsman redeemer. This is perfect. He can get the land back. But there is one kinsman redeemer above him, one who's more closely related. And so so Boaz goes to this guy and says, hey, there's an opportunity to be a kinsman redeemer and get some land. And the guy says, wow, that sounds great. I'll take it. And then Boaz says, oh yeah, there's also a Moabite woman named Ruth that, you'll have to marry and have a kid with her, and that kid will take over the land again. And the guy says, well, not worth that. And so he says, all right, you can take it. And they exchange shoes, because that's what you do, to prove it. And Boaz gets the girl and gets to be the kinsman redeemer. He gets to purchase that. And Jesus is our kinsman redeemer. What did he redeem us from? What did he purchase us? What would cost him his blood? Well, I want to hit three things really quickly. Let's hit those three things really quickly. One, he buys our forgiveness. Ephesians 1:7. In him we have redemption through his blood, the forgiveness of sin, according to the richness of his grace. When we sin, we have a debt to God, a debt that we could not repay. And so Jesus' death cleanses that debt and provides forgiveness, takes away that debt. 2, he takes away our curse. Galatians 3:13 says, Christ redeemed us from the curse of the law, becoming a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone who is hung on a tree. But it's pretty simple. In the law, there are blessings if you follow the law, and there are curses if you break the law. We broke the law, so we got curses coming for us. So Jesus, by dying on the tree, dying on the cross, took all those curses on himself, so that we could get all the blessings of the law instead of the curses. So Jesus redeems us by forgiving our debts. He redeems us by taking away our curse. And he redeems us by setting us free from wickedness. Titus 2:1-4 says, he gave himself for us to redeem us from all wickedness and to purify for himself a people that are his very own, eager to do what is good. When we sin, we say we sell ourselves to the power of sin and death. We sell ourselves to the evil one. We sell ourselves to wickedness. And a price needs to be paid to break us free, to bring us from the kingdom of darkness into his marvelous light. And Jesus paid that price to redeem us from wickedness. Jesus is worthy because he was slain. He is worthy to take the scroll because he redeemed. And last of all, he is worthy because he purchased from every tribe, tongue, and nation. As you think about that, it makes sense. That who should be the main character of all of history? For one who is able to accomplish something for all of people in all the globe. Who is worthy to own the world? Or someone who does something for all the world. And so Jesus died, death was something for all of creation. For every single person. Now, nowadays, we kind of say people look to the presidential election from all around the world because the USA is so powerful. The amazing thing about what Jesus did is he impacted the entire world. He impacted every tribe, tongue, and language, not through conquest, not through power, not through economic power or coercion, but through love, through sacrifice, through redemption. Something no one could have possibly done. But that is not complete yet. He hasn't completely done that yet. It's still in the future. Right now, there are 6,847 people groups, unique languages and ethnicities that have never heard the gospel, that don't have a church among them, that don't have the Bible in their language, and it represents about 2.77 billion people. About 40% of the world don't have a representative of the gospel among them. We are unreached. And you see that map behind you, there's a bunch of red in there, and that is the most unreached group. And you see they're concentrated in some place where we say it's called the 1040 window. And that's 10 degrees latitude to 40 degrees latitude. And then there's that window there where all these unreached people groups are. There's so many more for Jesus to complete his mission to reach every tribe, tongue, and language. But we aren't there, and we aren't quite doing enough for that. If you can see, 93% of what churches spend their money on is local missions work. They give about 5.4% to missions, but that is to missions to countries where there's already a huge Christian witness. Only less than 1% goes to unreached people groups. And of that 1%, 90% go to foreign missionaries, and only 10% go to native people who are best equipped to reach those groups. So there's a lot of work to be done to finish this story in Revelation so that every tribe, tongue, and nation can be before the Lamb. So there is one last song written to Jesus here. And it says that he is worthy to be praised. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive power and wealth and wisdom and strength and honor and glory and praise. And to him who sits on the throne be all blessing and glory and honor and power forever and ever. And I just want to say that is my goal for this First Jesus series. And I really hope that if you walk away from anything from this message or anything from this series, that you will walk away saying, wow, Jesus really is worthy of everything. He really is worthy of all glory and might and power and praise. He is worthy of everything that I can give. I want to give my all. I want to give my everything to him. May we be a church who sees Jesus as worthy and gives our all in praise to him. Let's pray. Worthy are you, Lamb, because you were slain. Because your blood purchased me from my guilt, from my curse, from my slavery to sin. You truly are worthy, and all nations and tongues and people shall bow before you because of how worthy you are. And so I pray that I will do it now. Help me to see your worth in every moment of every day. Lord, help me find ways that I have not given myself wholly to you, so that I can sing your praises and say you are truly worthy of all blessing and glory and honor and praise forever and ever. Amen. All right, we have a closing hymn, and then we will end our time together.